Hi, Star. Welcome to or back to the channel. I'm Batia, and this is Solar Alignment. This is where we help you align to the light. Okay, so today we're diving into a really interesting topic, a topic that's growing in popularity these days, and that is DMT and spiritual awakenings. Let's go. So here's the truth. You do not need to take a powerful psychedelic to access deeper consciousness or transformation. And I know this for a fact because I've had a spiritual awakening. So whether you're curious or cautious or just looking for alternatives, this video is for you. Stay here because I'm going to share 3 powerful and natural ways to experience a spiritual awakening without any substances at all. And if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you how I had my spiritual awakening over 10 years ago. So what is a spiritual awakening in the first place? A spiritual awakening is often described as a sudden shift in perception, an awareness that there's more to life than the material world. You begin to sense a deeper connection to everything. And it's not always euphoric. It can be painful or confusing or liberating or all 3. I remember when I had my spiritual awakening. I'll never forget it, Lord willing, right? This was in 2012, right? The year. If you know, you know. It was similar to like the Y2K kind of year where people were kind of scared that things would change, but 2012 was different, right? The end of the long count Mayan calendar and things like that, signaling this new era, right, that we're coming into. And that was a year that I had mine, but when it happened, I was stunned. My spiritual awakening showed me in no uncertain terms that everything is God. And I've never been the same since. So I'll tell you a little bit more about my story, but I'm going to interject it in these other ways because I didn't take DMT to have a spiritual awakening, and you don't have to either. Now, some people do report these awakenings after taking psychedelics like DMT, ayahuasca, psilocybin, if that's how you pronounce it. There's a guy named Kevin Wesley online, and he's kind of popular in his genre. I think he talks a lot about relationships now. And he talked about his experience. I think he was taking DMT, and he had a similar conclusion that I did, even though mine was very different. That everything is God, that he was God. He was like in a spiritual realm, if you will, and he saw his body and it fell away. It just fell away. But he was still there. And he realized that he wasn't his body. And I think he started to feel like he was going back to source, and he knew in that moment that he and source were one, that he and God were one, and that he wasn't his human self. I think it was a scary time for him because he didn't know if he was going to, like keep going that way and not come back. But he came back and he remembered the situation, and I don't think he's been the same since. So it has happened when people have taken these, psychedelics. However, it is not necessary. They are tools, and sometimes they can actually be detrimental to some people. So remember, you can awaken, or anyone can awaken, without touching psychedelics. Okay, and I am living proof of that. So why not DMT? So DMT is powerful, yes. So I've heard. It's often called the spirit molecule for good reason, but it's also intense and it's not for everyone. It's actually unpredictable. One, it can cause psychological distress. Two, it might bypass natural integration, right? Which brings me kind of to the third one. It doesn't really guarantee, this awakening or this extreme integration in your life constantly. It's just one experience. So if you're seeking lasting growth, real healing, real clarity, there are other ways that are just as profound and sometimes more sustainable. So let's get into it. Okay, Star, let's go. The first alternative, and a powerful one, is deep meditation. With consistent practice, meditation alters brain chemistry. It quiets the ego, which is a major part of your spiritual awakening, and helps you transcend the constant chatter of the mind. People report mystical experiences, feelings of oneness, even encounters with inner dimensions like Mr. Wesley we talked about earlier, all without ingesting anything, especially a strong psychedelic. So you can try practices like this: Vipassana, insight meditation, or third eye focus, or breath-based meditation. Over time, these practices can reveal your true nature with no external catalyst. Now, it's going to take time, but that's okay. I mean, does time really exist anyway? Okay. Alternative number 2, breathwork. Techniques like holotropic breathing or the Wim Hof method can introduce altered states of consciousness that can be compared to psychedelics. Through controlled breathing patterns, you flood the body with oxygen and release emotional blocks, opening the door to breakthroughs, visions, and healings. And my spiritual awakening was a vision. Some people have spontaneous awakenings during breathwork, feeling a cosmic connection, waves of energy, or profound peace. No plants required, at least not with this method. Alternative number 3, shadow work or inner inquiry, right? Asking the questions from within. So this method is more subtle, but can be deeply transformative. Shadow work and inner inquiry. This is the process of facing your old wounds, hidden wounds actually, fears and unconscious beliefs. It's not flashy, it's not pretty, but it's powerful. So using tools like journaling, inner child healing, the work by Byron Katie, therapy or coaching, and something that I just started getting into about 3 weeks or so ago, EFT. Whew. Talk about shadow work. You begin to dissolve the ego's illusions. You don't just see the light, you see what's been blocking it. And that's where real awakening begins. We're almost near the end of the video. Thank you so much for being with me so far, Star. On this channel, I call you my stars and constellations because we are stars because we shine. We're constellations because we gather. I do want to tell you just really quickly about how I had my spiritual awakening, and I'll probably make a longer video about that. I had my spiritual awakening through fasting. I was attempting to be a raw vegan. And when I say attempting, it's because I wasn't eating the abundance of food that I wanted to eat. This was 2012, so this was like the heyday of like raw veganism. respectively, like online and things like that. Raw vegans were really popular then, and everybody was looking great. And I wanted to, join this for my own reasons, health reasons. I didn't even think of a spiritual awakening. It had nothing to do with that at all. um, at the time, my finances were not that so that I could, buy all the fruit that I wanted to eat and things like that, and nuts and things like that. And I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and yeah, it was just whatever fruit we had in the house. That's what I ate, and it wasn't a lot at the time, and so I was actually fasting. So I was like fasting on fruit and a little bit of nuts and things like that, and I would eat my raw kale and drink my water. And after months of doing this, so think about it, fruit in and of itself is not, so filling, um, and just having a little bit of it is just. But I was being filled with a lot of light. It broke me free of many, many things that were holding me back in a relationship that I was in and things like that. Um, and one day I went outside in the sun, so that was probably a part of it. Hence, even the channel solar alignment. I'm obsessed with the sun. The sun is light, light is wisdom, light is light, and yes, information is all of that, right? So the sun provides a lot of that to us. And those foods that contain the sun are living foods. So it's not DMT, but yeah, I was eating raw kale. Now I don't do a lot of it. I don't do actually any raw kale now. I haven't done it in a while, but I would eat it then. Yeah. And I sat in the sun and I had an entire vision. Like my mind just, yeah. So I would probably make a longer video about that, but that's how I had my spiritual awakening, and it was real. It changed my life. I've never been the same. 10 years or so after that, I created this channel because now I'm all into metaphysics and things like that, which I never was before, but it just comes to me. The information comes to me. I do find information online that supports what I already know, but downloads. I mean, it's just all the time. I'm a changed person. And so this channel, Solar Alignment, is kind of like my alter non-ego, if you will. I have a couple other channels, music and a clothing brand, and a financial wealth mindset one. But this is my metaphysical channel, and it's all because of the vision I had while I was eating my fruits and a little bit of nuts here and there, and it changed my life. So I'll probably talk about that in another video more in depth, but I did not use DMT. Now, some people could say, well, kale is very powerful. It is. And I don't have it right now. I kind of experiment with food. I get into food alchemy, just to kind of study certain things. So I'm taking a break from it now just to study other foods. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been having it. But yeah, it's powerful, but it didn't, it was more of a gradual peeling away, if you will, of my kind of like my physical self. I mean, the ego, and it revealed to me the truth. The universe revealed to me the truth. The information is all around you. It is in the ethers, as they call it. But you just have to get your body in a state where you can access the information. Now, for me at that time, yes, it was just eating only fruits and living greens, drinking water, and that was it. Oh, and a little bit of the nuts. I had a little bit of almonds, maybe once or twice a week. It wasn't a lot. I just wasn't eating a lot of like basically anything. Yeah, drinking my water and then just allowing the downloads. I'm not recommending that you do what I did, especially to the degree that I did, because after a few months of me doing that, I had to actually stop and eat more foods, more cook foods again. We were vegan at the time anyway, so I just started eating more of the cooked, starchy vegan foods and stuff. With all due respect to whoever eats that way. I no longer eat starches, so that's another story. But yeah, I had to start eating more dense food because my body was not getting enough nutrition, right? So a fast is a fast. A fast is temporary, right? It's kind of like these DMT experiences. It's temporary. But if you can figure out a way, it's kind of like opening the door sometimes does change you forever. I mean, I'm living proof of that, right? But you want to do it in a safe way. You can do it in a gradual way. And again, this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not telling you to do what I did. I'm telling you what I did. And you make your own decisions based on your body chemistry and speak to a nutritionist and things like that. And be circumspect, use your intuition and all that good stuff. But this video is about you being safe, you knowing that you do not need to take a strong psychedelic in order to have a spiritual awakening. The answers are all around you. You are source, having the experience as you. And sometimes, yes, we are caught in the human experience, right? We are so caught up in my race, my gender, my religion, and those things are relevant to this environment. I'm not saying they're not relevant, but they're not as relevant as the human being, the modern human being, makes them. We're not supposed to be tied to these identities. When I had my spiritual awakening, I mean, it just took my entire mind and it showed me, I felt like Scrooge in that movie where, I don't know if you know about this, but it's this movie long time ago, like a black and white movie. I think it's called Scrooge. And it's like where the ghost of like Christmas past and all that stuff was like showing him his past and what his future would be or something like that, right? Been a long time since I watched the movie. But the concept, but I remember as a child just watching this movie, right? And seeing, him like fly above the cloud, and just kind of look at his life. It was like that. It was like I was experiencing the knowing of what I was being shown, within my own mind. And yeah, it definitely changed my life, but it's something that is already within. And you have access to it. You don't have to rush it. My spiritual awakening didn't happen in one day. And like I said, I wasn't even looking for a spiritual awakening. I was doing that for health. I was doing that for freedom. I wanted to be free. And it was something about that raw vegan food. And I was looking at the people and I said, they look really free. They look really happy. I want to do what they're doing. And incidentally, I'm not raw vegan right now. I'm not even a vegan. I eat some fish, a little chicken, little eggs, to give me a little bit of more saturated fat in my body. If it was my choice, I probably would be. I'll probably just eat fruit and maybe salads and stuff like that. But I feel like my body doesn't do the best on just that. Like it needs more. So, but anyway, so it can be more gradual is what I'm saying, right? Your awakening is here for you. It is something that can be a gradual thing. And you don't have to try to rush it with this one strong experience, that may or may not, go well. We only pronounce positive things over our life, right? But we want to, you got to be circumspect and smart about things. And certain things you just don't want to take a chance on. So I'm making this video out of personal experience. And just saying that, yeah, you can wake up to who you really are in a more gradual way, in a more natural way, and just know that you don't have to rush it. you have time. Time is all there is, or, well, you don't have to rush it, and all is well. So if this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I would appreciate a star. Have you had a spiritual awakening with or without psychedelics? Inquiring minds want to know what helped you most. And if you're on this path, subscribe for more tools, more insight, more guidance. Become one of our stars and constellations. Because we're stars because we shine. And we're constellations because we gather. You're not alone. Just remember that. And your journey is just beginning. You're always here. You've always been here. And you always will be here. In some form or another. Peace and love.